You ever feel like you're stuck in a loop? Like you keep hitting the same walls over and over again, no matter what you do? Well, it turns out a lot of our life patterns are shaped by these unseen family dynamics. It's like a hidden script we don't even know we're following. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see what that script is all about.
I mean, it's one of the most frustrating questions we can ask ourselves, right? Whether it's in our job, with our money, or, especially in our relationships, we somehow find ourselves right back where we started. Why does the same story seem to happen to us again and again?
So here's the thing. The answer, it isn't bad luck. It's not fate. It's all about a hidden script, one that was probably written for us when we were kids, by our family. And without even realizing it, we end up acting it out for the rest of our lives.
To really get how this works, we've got to look at a real-world example, a pretty fascinating case study. It's a powerful look at how these hidden scripts can lead us to sabotage ourselves, even when it looks like we have it all.
So, let's meet this person. She's a woman in her early 30s, and on paper her life is perfect. We're talking brilliant, talented, successful, someone who has checked every single box. She's got this amazing career at a world-class company. She's well-educated, charismatic. Professionally, she is absolutely crushing it. But behind the scenes, her personal life tells a totally different story. 3. This number is the key. It represents this stark pattern of failure in her life, a pattern she just couldn't figure out, which is why she went to see a psychologist in the first place. She's been through 3 failed marriages. And here's the really crucial detail. There wasn't some huge drama, no big fatal flaw in any of the relationships. In fact, in every single case, she was the one who chose to leave. It's like she was sabotaging her own happiness.
So what is going on here? How can someone be so successful in one area of life, and yet this keeps happening? This is the mystery we're trying to solve. And the answer isn't in her adult choices, but in a role she was forced to play as a child.
And this is where we get to the absolute heart of the issue. It all comes down to something called a parent-child role reversal. The real root of her self-sabotage is this dynamic where the roles got completely flipped, putting this impossible weight on her shoulders from way too young. Imagine being a little kid and hearing this from your own mother, over and over again. Her mother basically told her that she was the reason for all her misery, but also her only reason to live. Can you imagine the guilt, the sense of responsibility? It gets buried deep inside.
Yeah, there's actually a psychological term for this. It's called parentification. The child essentially becomes the parent's emotional caretaker. Instead of being the one who's protected, she became the protector. They're often called little adults.
Now, this constant caretaking leads to another, even deeper problem: symbiotic enmeshment. It sounds complicated, but it's basically when two people are so close there are no boundaries at all. The daughter's identity got completely swallowed up by her mother's needs, basically strangling any hope she had for her own life. And here's where it all comes together in the most tragic way. It's a phenomenon called personality replication. Even though she consciously wanted a totally different life for herself, she was unconsciously recreating her mother's exact pattern of failed marriages. It's like a psychological echo. You grow up to repeat the very thing you tried so hard to escape.
Okay, so what does this actually feel like in real life? A childhood like this tends to create 3 really distinct burdens that people end up carrying around in adulthood, and they often have no idea where they came from.
These burdens are: number 1, you dare not be happy. Number 2, you develop a savior complex. And number 3, you become a people pleaser. And the thing is, they're all linked, like a chain reaction. It starts with feeling like you don't deserve happiness, which makes you want to rescue everyone else, which leads you to totally ignore your own needs.
So let's break down that first one. If you grew up as the emotional rock for a parent who is always suffering, your own happiness can actually feel like a betrayal. So, just like the woman in our case study, you might blow up a perfectly good marriage or pass on a great opportunity because on some deep level, it keeps you loyal to that original family pain.
And that leads right into the savior complex. Because you were trained from day 1 to be your parent's rescuer, you just keep doing it with everyone. You feel like you have to fix all the people around you. You take on their problems, their pain, their responsibilities, until you're just crushed under a weight that was never yours to carry.
And all of this, of course, lands you squarely in people-pleaser territory. You become so good at tuning into what everyone else needs that you totally forget how to listen to yourself. Your own feelings are just a faint whisper. Setting a simple boundary, like saying no, can feel like this huge selfish act because your entire sense of worth has been tied to being useful to others.
Okay, I know this all sounds really heavy, maybe a little bleak, but here's the most important part. You are not doomed to repeat this pattern. You are not stuck with this script forever. There is absolutely a way to break this cycle and get your own life back.
It really comes down to a choice. On one side, you have the trap. You keep trying to save your parents, which just oversteps boundaries and honestly creates more pain for everyone involved. And on the other side, you have freedom. And that freedom comes from a really powerful idea called topic separation, which is just about figuring out what's your stuff to deal with and what's theirs.
See, we often think that true respect for our parents means carrying their burdens for them, but it's actually the opposite. Real respect is allowing them the dignity of walking their own path, fighting their own battles, and taking responsibility for their own lives. Your job is to walk your path.
So where do you even begin with all this? Honestly, it's awareness. The fact that you're listening to this right now, that these ideas are starting to click, that is the first and most important step. Because once you know the script exists, you can finally start to rewrite it. I just love this quote. It sums up the whole idea so beautifully. Let flowers be flowers, let trees be trees. Return yourself to yourself, return others to others. It's all about letting people be who they are, on their own journey, and finally giving yourself permission to just be you.
So I'll just leave you with this one last thing to think about. After all this time, maybe a whole lifetime of carrying the weight of someone else's emotions, it's worth asking yourself, whose happiness are you actually responsible for?